I killed my mother with a single phone call from a Juarez payphone, the kind that eats quarters like they're candy, and watched her choke on her own lies 3,000 miles away. My father? He got the slow burn, a forged deed and a whisper campaign that turned his golf buddies into FBI informants overnight. But the real gut punch? Realizing the house they stole from me wasn't just bricks and mortar, it was the only proof I had that I'd ever belonged anywhere. And now strangers were pissing in my childhood bathtub while I plotted from the shadows of Skid Row. It started with that godforsaken flight into LAX. The kind where the pilot slurs apologies over the intercom about turbulence like it's his fault the world's gone to hell. I'd been gone 3 years. 3 years in a Mexican hellhole that smelled like despair and chorizo farts. Courtesy of a framed job, so slick it could only have come from family. I was 28 when they locked me up. 29 when the days blurred into a fever dream of cockroaches and screams. And now, stepping onto American soil again, I felt like a ghost haunting my own life. Jet lag hit like a sledgehammer, but nothing compared to the cab ride to Echo Park, where the palm trees whispered secrets I wasn't ready to hear. The house looked the same from the outside, faded yellow siding, the creaky porch swing I'd carved my initials into at 15, the overgrown bougainvillea Mom used to curse like it was the devil's own weed. But the mailbox had a new name, Hargrove. Etched in brass, like it belonged. I paid the cabbie with crumpled pesos and what was left of my severance from the prison laundry gig, then stood there, key in hand, feeling like an idiot for thinking anything waited for me. The door was unlocked, figures. I pushed it open, and the smell hit first, vanilla candles and something synthetic, like Febreze trying too hard to mask affluence. Laughter echoed from the living room, the kind that tinkles like champagne flutes at a gala. I froze in the foyer, my duffel bag slipping from my shoulder. There they were, him, mid-40s, all sharp jawline and bespoke suit, scrolling his phone on the couch that used to be mine. Her, blonde and Botoxed, legs crossed in yoga pants that cost more than my yearly rent in Mexico, sipping a green juice like she owned the joint. Which, apparently, she did. Can I help you? The guy, Hargrove, I guessed, looked up first, his eyes narrowing behind rimless glasses. Tech bro vibe. The kind who drops disruptor in casual conversation and thinks he's Steve Jobs reincarnate. I swallowed the bile rising in my throat. Yeah. You can get the fuck out of my house. Her laugh was a scalpel. Oh. Honey, this is a private residence. If you're selling Girl Scout cookies, we're vegan. Private residence. My house. The one where I'd skinned my knees learning to ride a bike. Where Dad taught me poker under the kitchen table. Where Mom baked pies that won blue ribbons at the county fair. Gone. Deeded away while I rotted for their sins. I didn't scream. Didn't lunge. Just dropped my key on the console table, the one with the chipped edge from that 4th of July when fireworks went wrong, and turned on my heel. Outside, the rain started, turning the sidewalk into a mirror of smeared neon from the taco truck across the street. I called Mom from a burner phone I'd picked up at the airport, the number etched into my brain like a scar. Mom, it's Liv. I'm home. Her voice cracked like thin ice. Olivia? Oh God. Baby. Where are you? At the house. Or what's left of it. Who the hell are the Hargroves? Silence. Then, the flood. Excuses about debts. Medical bills from Dad's episode. How the bank was breathing down their necks. They downsized to a condo in Glendale, cozy. She said. Sold the house 6 months ago to cover it all. No big deal. Like evicting your only daughter from her inheritance was just Tuesday's chore. You didn't even wait for me, I whispered, rain soaking my shirt. 3 years.
Mom.
3 years, I took the fall for you and Dad. And this is what I get. Livy. It wasn't like that. We had to. Save it. I hung up, the phone heavy in my fist. Betrayal tastes like rust. Sharp and metallic. But this was deeper. I'd gone down for smuggling antiques, they said. But really it was Dad's side hustle with cartel connections, laundering cash through Mom's craft fair booth. I'd confessed to it all in that interrogation room, eyes swollen from the beating.
Just to keep them out of it.
Family first, Dad had begged through the plexiglass during visiting hours. Yeah.
Right.
That night, I crashed at a Fleabag motel off Sunset, the kind with hourly rates and stains you don't ask about. Sleep came in fits, dreams of the house morphing into the prison yard, Hargrove's face superimposed on the guards. By dawn, I was pounding pavement, hitting up old contacts, ex-cons who'd owed me favors from the laundry line gossip. Turns out, Ethan Hargrove wasn't just some Silicon Valley transplant. He was the kingpin of Neuralink, a startup peddling brain-computer interfaces that promised to unlock human potential. But whispers said it was darker. Experimental swaps, neural overrides, volunteers waking up in the wrong skin, black market body hopping for the elite who wanted to cheat death or just play God. And the house? He'd bought it sight unseen through a shell company, flipped the deed like it was crypto. My parents? Desperate sellers. No questions asked. But why him? Why our house? I dug deeper. Hacking public records from a library computer, God bless free Wi-Fi, and there it was, the survey map. Hargrove's company had annexed the backyard for a private lab extension. Permits filed retroactively. Whatever they were building, it was under my swing set. I confronted the parents that afternoon, pulling up to their Glendale shoebox in a borrowed Chevy that smelled like weed and regret. Mom answered the door in a muumuu. Dad dozing in a recliner with the TV blaring Fox News. They looked smaller, shriveled, like raisins left too long in the sun. Livy, Mom hugged me, all perfume and panic. We didn't know when you'd save the waterworks. I pushed past, straight to the kitchen table scarred from years of my homework. The house. Hargrove. What aren't you telling me? Dad stirred, rubbing his eyes. It was clean.
Kiddo.
Real estate guy said cash offer. No contingencies. We needed the money after your situation. My situation. I laughed, bitter as black coffee. You mean the 3 years I did for your cartel bullshit? The one where I lied to the feds so you could keep playing golf. Mom's face crumpled. We were going to tell you. But Ethan, Mr. Hargrove, he promised to help. Said his company could look into appeals. Get you an early release if we cooperated. Cooperating meaning handing over the deed to your experimental freak show? Dad shifted.
Guilty.
It's not like that. He needed space for equipment. Non-invasive stuff. Brain scans. Mostly. Bullshit. I'd seen the patents. Neural mapping for identity transference. Body swaps. Voluntary at first, then not. Hargrove wasn't buying a house. He was buying a graveyard for his sins. And my parents? Willing accomplices. Trading their daughter's legacy for a get-out-of-jail-free card that never came. That night, I broke in. Not the house, the lab. Chain-link fence snipped with bolt cutters from a pawn shop. Security cams looped with a Raspberry Pi hack I'd learned from a cellmate. The backyard was a moonscape now. Concrete pad. Humming generators. A Quonset hut disguised as a shed.
Inside.
It was Blade Runner meets a mad scientist's wet dream, servers whirring. Vials of glowing blue shit. And in the center, a pod like a coffin from a sci-fi flick. I didn't touch anything. Just watched the feeds on a terminal, test subjects, blurred faces, logs of transfers dated back to before the sale. One entry caught my eye, subject O17. Transfer to auxiliary vessel. Failure. Disposal. O for Olivia. My blood ran cold. They'd tried it on me? In Mexico?
No.
Impossible. But the dates lined up with my arrest, the episode where I blacked out in that border town motel, waking up with bruises I couldn't explain. Cartel? Or something worse. Hargrove's wife, Tessa, was the key. I tailed her the next day, yoga class in Silver Lake, latte run in Los Feliz. She was all Instagram glow, but up close, her eyes darted like a cornered fox. At the farmer's market, I bumped her cart, spilling organic kale. Sorry, I muttered. American as apple pie.
She smiled. Tight.
No worries. New in town. Sort of. Just got back from abroad. Name's Olivia. Recognition flickered. Gone in a blink. Tessa Hargrove. Welcome home. Home. The word twisted like a knife. I played nice. Chatted about the neighborhood. The charming old house. She thawed, spilling about renovations, the weird history from the previous owners. They had some drama, I hear. Daughter in trouble overseas, or something. Or something, I echoed, forcing a laugh. Inside, the plan crystallized. Controversial? Hell yes. But if Hargrove wanted to play God with souls, I'd borrow his toys. It took a week to get close. I cleaned up, thrift store sundress, hair blown out at a Supercuts, and crashed a Neuralink mixer at the Griffith Observatory. Name-dropped a fake VC contact. Flirted with interns until Tessa noticed. By the third glass of rose, she was my new bestie, spilling about Ethan's genius and the life-changing tech. Ever try it? I asked, casual as sin. The transfers? Her laugh was champagne bubbles.
God. No.
It's for the broken ones. But Ethan's working on upgrades. Full immersion. They call it. Broken ones. Like me. That night, in her wine-fueled haze, she slipped me a key card for the pool house. If you're ever over. Ethan's away in the valley. Opportunity knocked. I didn't hesitate. The pool house was a guest house on steroids, marble counters, sub-zero fridge stocked with kale smoothies and kaleidoscope drugs. I waited until midnight. Hargrove's jet whooshing off to Palo Alto. Tessa snoring under Egyptian cotton. The keycard buzzed me into the main lab through a side door. The air thick with ozone and ambition. Consoles glowed like digital altars. And there it was, the chair. Not a pod, but a throne of black leather and chrome. Electrodes snaking like veins. A helmet that looked like a crown of thorns. I shouldn't have sat down. Every fiber screamed tourist trap. Every con I'd pulled in prison yelling setup. But the screen beckoned, login bypassed with a brute force script from my library dives. Files unfolded, patient logs, neural maps. And there, buried in encrypted folders, Project Echo. My name. Olivia Reyes. Tagged as donor vessel. Donor. Like I was a kidney on ice. The report was clinical cold. Extraction during detention. Cartel contact facilitated remote neural probe. Partial transfer attempted. Identity overlay for leverage. Failure due to resistance. Subject released post-amnesia wipe. Leverage. They tried to hijack my brain from halfway across the border, puppeteering me into confessing to their smuggling ring. My parents knew. The episode in the motel? Not a blackout from cheap tequila, but a botched body snatch. I'd taken the fall. All right, not just for Dad's deals, but for being their goddamn lab rat. Rage boiled. Hot and holy. I interfaced. Slapped on the helmet. Jabbed ports into my temples with a hygiene swab dipped in conductive gel. The system purred to life. A sultry AI voice cooing. Welcome. Administrator. Initiate transfer? Not me, I muttered. Fingers flying. Target, Tessa Hargrove. Her map was fresh, routine backup from that morning's wellness scan. Voluntary. She called it. Delusional. More like. The swap was meant for backups. Ego insurance for the 1%ers afraid of wrinkles or worse. But I overrode. Cueing a full immersion, her mind into a dummy rig, mine into hers. Controversial? Try felony assault on reality itself. But fuck ethics, this was war. The world dissolved in static snow. Pain lanced needles in my spine, whispers in my skull. Then, nothing. Black velvet. Endless. I woke gasping. Not in the lab, but in silk sheets that smelled like lavender and lies. Tessa's body. Lithe. Tanned. 20 pounds lighter and a lifetime richer. I stumbled to the mirror. Her face staring back, blue eyes wide. Lips parted in my shock. Holy shit, I breathed. Her voice a purr. It worked. I was her. Dawn broke over the canyon, and I played the part. Coffee in the KitchenAid. Text to Ethan, miss you.
Babe.
Lab update? Emojis. The works. He bought it, droning about venture rounds and breakthroughs. By noon, I was in her walk-in closet, rifling designer tags for clues. A burner phone tucked in a Louboutin box. Text to an unknown. Oh. Reyes neutralized. Proceed with acquisition. Neutralized. Me. And acquisition? The house deed traced back to a shell. Echo Holdings. Hargrove's front for poaching properties with anomalies. Old sites ripe for neural residue. Echoes of past traumas to fuel his AI. My house? Ground zero because of me, the failed subject. They'd known about the transfer glitch. Used it to map resilient psyches. Mom and Dad sold out. Not for debts, but for a cut of the tech pie. Family first, my ass. I needed proof. Deep in Tessa's yoga journal, actually a ledger, numbers tallied, payoffs to border fixers. My prison stint itemized like an expense report. The parents got 10% equity in a spin-off. Traders.
All.
The controversial call came that afternoon. Ethan rang from the valley. Babe. Board's pushing for human trials. That old Echo Park site, prime for phase 2. You handle the neighbors? Consider it done, I said, her voice dripping honey.
Inside.
Olivia screamed. Phase 2 meant more swaps, unwilling ones, yanked from the margins. Immigrants. Vets. Anyone with a strong echo. I'd be the mole. Sabotaging from the silk sheet throne. But power's a drug, and Tessa's skin fit like a glove. I tested it. Lunch with the Wives Club. Dropping barbs about Ethan's ethical blind spots. Seeds planted. Whispers spread.
Then,
The real play, mirror neurons. They called it. I synced her mannerisms. Her laugh. Until even the pool boy didn't blink. Nights. I slipped out. Back to the motel as Olivia, plotting the double life. The parents sensed something off when Tessa, dropped by unannounced. Mom answered, squinting. Mrs. Hargrove, is everything all right with the property? Property,
I echoed.
channeling her ice queen vibe.
Oh,
The house is perfect. But that daughter of yours. Olivia,
right?
messy business abroad. Dad shuffled in.
Pale.
What do you mean? I leaned in, voice low. I mean, smuggling convictions don't just vanish. But Ethan's generous. For a price. I slid a USB across the table, fabricated logs of their cartel ties, laced with real Neuralink data. Leak this, and you're done. Play nice. And maybe we upgrade your condo to a penthouse. They crumbled. Of course. Tears. Begs. The whole Southern California sob story. We did it for you. Livy, Mom whimpered. To get you out early. Livy. I froze. Slippage. But they were too wrecked to notice. I left them there. Ghosts in their own kitchen. The USB a ticking bomb. Tension coiled like a spring. Ethan grew suspicious, late-night audits. Questions about migraines. I doubled down. Seducing him in the master suite. Her body a weapon I wielded clumsily at first, then with venomous grace. Post-coital pillow talk yielded gold, the climax. A demo for investors at the house. Full swap reveal, volunteers on stage. Minds flipping like pancakes. But the star? A recovered subject. Me? Olivia. Trotted out as success story. No way in hell. I prepped the twist. Hacked the chair's overrides. Rigging it for cascade failure, every transfer looping back on itself. Frying the network. Controversial? Try mass neural Armageddon. Souls scrambled like eggs. But they deserved it. The parents for the betrayal. Hargrove for playing Frankenstein with flesh. Demo night loomed. Black tie affair in the living room I'd once finger-painted. I arrived as Tessa. Arm candy perfect. Olivia's duffel stashed in the trunk.
Guests millet você vultures. Celed backers.
My parents as consultants in ill-fitting suits. Ethan took the mic. Beaming. Tonight, we don't just connect minds. We transcend them. The chair waited. Center stage. Humming like a hive. Volunteers strapped in. Homeless recruits promised cash. Eyes hollow. I slipped away during toasts. Interfacing from a hidden terminal. One tap. And it began. Transfers initiating. But inverted. Screams echoed, not pain. But confusion. A banker in a barista's head. A starlet swapping with her own reflection. Chaos bloomed. Ethan barked orders. Face twisting. Tessa, shut it down. I stepped forward. Shedding the mask. Tessa's taking a permanent vacation. Ethan. His eyes widened. Who the? The room froze as I hit enter. My mind surged, back to Olivia's shell, but laced with echoes. Hers. Theirs. A chorus of stolen lives. The backlash hit like a California wildfire, fast, furious, all-consuming. Bodies slumped in the chairs. Minds adrift in digital limbo. Investors scrambling for exits amid flashes from TMZ drones hovering like vultures. Ethan lunged for the console. But I was faster. Tessa's lithe frame dodging like a cat. "You bitch," he snarled, grabbing my wrist, her wrist, hard enough to bruise. "What did you do?" "I gave them a taste," I hissed, voice cracking between skins. The swap held. But fraying, neural echoes bled through. Her memories flickering like bad reception. Childhood cotillions. First affair with the pool boy. The thrill of Ethan's first kill. Wait. Kill? Not metaphorical. A rival coder. Transferred into a coma patient. Left to rot in county care. The truth reversed in that instant. A gut twist sharper than any knife. Project Echo wasn't just theft, it was erasure. And me, not the victim. The blueprint. Mom's scream pierced the din. "Olivia? Oh God."
No.
She rushed forward. Dad, trailing. Faces ashen. Security swarmed, but the system's collapse bought time, cameras looping.
Doors jammed.
In the melee, I cornered them by the kitchen island, the same spot where I demanded answers weeks ago. "You knew," I said, pinning Mom against the butcher block. "All of it," Dad blubbered. "We didn't. Ethan approached us years ago. Said you were compatible. High resilience from the accident."
Accident.
The car wreck at 16. The one that killed my little brother.
Tommy.
I'd walked away unscathed.
They said.
Miracle girl. But her files told different. Experimental salvage. They'd tested the prototype on me then. Neural probe during surgery. Mapping my echo for future swaps. Tommy's death? Collateral. The smuggling? Cover to extract me across the border for full integration. I was the donor from the start, I whispered. The room spinning. Not framed for their crimes, I was the crime. Their golden ticket to Hargrove's empire. The jail time? A holding pattern. Amnesia wiped to keep me docile until the house deals sealed the lab. Betrayal so deep it hollowed me out. Ethan broke free. Tackling me to the Persian rug, my rug, threadbare from years of family movie nights. Fists flew. His rage a storm. "You were nothing. A junkie template. Perfect for the poor bastards we overwrite. I need him." Tessa's Pilates core saving my ass. And rolled free. The investors were gone. Sirens wailing distant. Ellie? Probably tipped by my anonymous leak hours earlier. But the real twist burned hotter. In the scuffle, a shard of memory sliced through. Tommy's face. Not dead, but transferred. Into Ethan? No, into the first volunteer. The homeless vet now convulsing on stage. Eyes locking on mine. Livy. A rasp. Not his voice, but his soul. The system hadn't failed, it had reconnected. Echoes unbound. Minds rebounding like rubber bands. Hargrove's empire crumbling under the weight of its own ghosts. I staggered up. Parents cowering. You sold me twice. Once to the lab, once to him. Mom reached, but I slapped her hand away. Controversial.
Sure.
But cathartic as hell. Enjoy the penthouse. It's got a great view of rock bottom. Ethan charged again. But the chair's overload hit critical. Sparks flew.
Consoles melting.
He seized. Body jerking as his mind fragmented. Echoes of overwritten souls clawing back. No, please, he collapsed. Eyes rolling white. A vegetable king dethroned. Sirens closed in. I bolted for the back door, into the night air thick with eucalyptus and exhaust. Tessa's body, my borrowed shell, felt heavy now, laced with her regrets, the affairs, the abortions, the slow poison of complicity. I ditched the dress in an alley, emerging as Olivia in jeans and a hoodie, duffel slung over shoulder. The aftermath blurred, headlines screaming Neuralink nightmare, feds raiding the lab, my parents spilling to plea deals. They pinned it on Ethan, mad genius. Rogue op, but whispers lingered.
Tommy?
Recovered, they said, in a psych ward-up state, piecing together shards. We met once, under fluorescent hum, his eyes mine but haunted. Sorry, sis, he croaked. Forgiven? Debatable.
Me?
I vanished into the desert. Thumb out for Reno. Cash from sold Louboutins burning a hole. The house?
Seized.
Bulldozed. Echoes silenced. Revenge tasted like ash, sweet at first, then choking. Had I won? Or just swapped one prison for another? Olivia's skin scarred with stranger sins? Last I heard. Mom's in a trailer park. Dad's golf clubs gathering dust. They send cards.
And signed.
I burn them. Family first?
Nah.
Survival's the only blood that counts. But in quiet motels off I-15, when the wind howls like lost souls, I wonder if I could swap back. Erase the echoes.
Would I?
Or keep the rage. The power. The proof I was more than their ghost? Hell if I know. That's the American dream for you. Win the war. Lose the peace. And argue about it over beers till dawn.